Today's aim is that students will be able to solve multi-step equations with variables on both sides of the equation. Some vocabulary. A variable is a symbol, usually a letter, that represents an unknown number. There are two sides to every equation, and each side is called an expression. In order to solve multi-step equations with variables on both sides in both expressions, you follow 4 steps. First, distribute on each side of the equal sign. That means you multiply the number outside the parentheses by everything inside the parentheses. Step 2, combine like terms on each side of the equal sign. Step 3, part A, undo addition or subtraction for the variables. That means you add or subtract the variable with the smaller coefficient. The smaller coefficient, a coefficient is the number in front. Step 3, part B, undo addition or subtraction for the constants or the numbers. You want to move them away from the variables to the other side of the equation. And finally, step 4, you undo multiplication or division. So this is just like what we were doing last week, except now there are going to be letters, variables on both sides of the equal sign. So let's look at an example. First thing I always do is draw my dotted line directly down from the equal sign. And I look at each side separately. So first, I am going to try to distribute. Well, I don't have anything in my equation that I could distribute, so I'm done with that. I'm just going to cross it off. Next, I'm going to try to combine like terms on each side of the equal sign. Well, on the left side, there's no like terms, so I can't do anything on the left side. But on the right side, I do have like terms. I have 5p and positive 3p, so I can add them together. I can go ahead and combine them on the left side. 5p plus 3p would give me 8p. And then I just bring everything else directly down in its normal place, minus 8. So now I've combined like terms. Now I'm ready to undo addition or subtraction for the variables. So what I want to have is all the p's together on one side of the equal sign. This p has an invisible 1 in front of it. So I want to move the number that has the smaller number in front. So 1 is smaller than 8, so I'm going to move the 1. There's an invisible positive in front of the 1, so I'm going to subtract this 1p from both sides of the equation. I'm going to line it directly up with the 8p. Now these will cancel out, and I'm left with negative 1 on the left equals 8p minus 1p, which is 7p, minus 8. Now I want to undo the addition and subtraction for the numbers by moving them to the other side away from the variables, away from the p. So I'm going to add this 8 to both sides to get rid of it. These cancel out. Negative 1 plus 8 gives me positive 7 equals, bring down my 7p. Then I'm going to undo multiplication or division. There's an invisible multiplication here, so I'm going to divide both sides by 7. These cancel out, and I'm left with 7 divided by 7, which is 1, equals p. Let's look at the next example. First, I'm going to try to distribute after I draw my dotted line directly down from the equal sign. Well, there's nothing to distribute on the left, but there is something I can distribute on the right. I have a negative 2 times 1 minus 7n. So I'm going to multiply the negative 2 by everything inside the parentheses. Bring my equal sign down. I have negative 2 times 1, which is negative 2. And then I bring my minus down. Negative 2 times 7n, which gives me negative 14n. Put a parenthesis around my negative. Bring the rest down, 5n plus 34. Now, minus a negative is the same as plus a positive, so I'll go ahead and change that. So if I rewrite this after I distribute it, I have 5n plus 34 equals negative 2 plus 14n. I don't have any like terms on either side to combine, so I'll cross that off. Now I'm ready to undo addition or subtraction by getting the variables, the n's, together. I look at the coefficients. I have positive 14 here and positive 5 here, so I'm going to want to move this one. You want to move the one that's smaller. It's easier to move things that are small. So there's an invisible positive in front of the 5n, so I'm going to subtract 5n from both sides. I line it up with the other n. Now I have 34 equals negative 2 plus 14n minus 5n. Well, 14 minus 5 is 9, and I bring down my n. Now I'm done. All the x's or all the n's are together. And now I'm ready to solve. I want to move this number away from the n so it can be by itself. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. So do the opposite. There's a negative in front, so I'm going to add it. 34 plus 2 gives me 36 equals 9n. And last step, I'm going to undo multiplication or division. There's invisible multiplication right here. So I'm going to undo that by dividing both sides by 9. These cancel out. 36 divided by 9 gives me 4 equals n. Now it's time for you to practice.